fantastic. Very well. Surviving. I have survived. You know, every consultation I've made is like, yo, I can't believe I now appreciate air. If you don't know how to breathe, you really appreciate air. So the free air that we breathe, now I appreciate very much.
Yeah, I think it's a second chance of life, and faithfully we will thrive because now we know the value.
Hey,
the
now
real
we know
value.
the value. There was one time where I was on the floor, it's like I couldn't breathe. And I was like, oh, I'm going.
Yeah. It was not yet time, Gavin. It was not yet time.
Not your time. It's like I'm part of the statistics, that one.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. So thank you so much for joining us today. For agreeing to be part of this amazing platform. I think just maybe introduce yourself. Who are you? Who's Precious? What do you do? And then we can just get the show on the road.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about Precious this evening. And hello, everyone who has joined in. Gavin, thank you so much for having me this evening. I am really grateful. So Precious is that girl who was born and raised in Mabopane, in the streets of Mabopane. It's in the north of Pretoria. Yeah. So I matriculated in Mabopane. I just left Mabopane when I furthered my studies in a tertiary institution.
Yes.
So I'm one of those girls who have actually experienced the realities that youth who come from economically depressed or disadvantaged backgrounds have experienced. I'm one of them.
Yeah.
And I've had my own fair share of the ups and downs of life. Yeah. I've been through corporate industry, worked there. And today Precious is an entrepreneur. Yeah. And she's a published author of a wonderful book, Renew Your Mind.
Yeah.
And I'm out there on a mission to make life a better place to live in. Yeah, wonderful. That's me.
I don't know if you have a copy of the book so people can see the copy.
Yes, I have a copy of the book. It will just come to me just now.
But we'll share it afterwards.
Then I will share. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Now, post Precious, I mean, if we look at, I think now more than ever, it's even, I think, alarming when we talk about youth unemployment. And of course, when we talk about entrepreneurship, there's always this talk around creating a conducive environment for young people to get into entrepreneurship and all of that aspect. Yeah. According to you, what do you think are some of the attributes that are sort of, blocking a lot of young people from entering the entrepreneurship space?
Sure. Yeah, quite a few things though. I must say the biggest one is a sense of survival. You find that when someone who is still young and is in school, and this person has been exposed to an environment where, it is just hard to get by every day. All they think about, you know what, if I can just finish my matric, get out of school, find a job and work so that I can be able to survive. Yeah. So basically we find ourselves from like the townships, I'm gonna call it economically disadvantaged background. The major problem is for someone just to be able to get their next meal, to be able to look after their family, whether it be parents, it be siblings or whoever. But survival is the key reason why you find that entrepreneurship is not embraced that much from those areas. Okay. I think it's that. And a second thing, I think it's also peer pressure. And I will tell you why I say peer pressure is actually one of the things that is holding them back. I have been doing my rounds of research regarding these kind of issues in the townships in the past 2 weeks. And what I picked up was that one common thread is peer pressure. They say that, seeing other people prospering, you know, whether they know how they got to prosper or not, but seeing other people driving certain cars, having certain kind of money and all that, they feel that, you know what, I just want to get it quite faster. And we know the real world of entrepreneurship is not necessarily a quick, rich scheme. You need to walk the path. So those are some of the reasons why tend to hold our youth back when it comes to the subject of entrepreneurship.
But as obviously when, you know, since you have highlighted all of the, I think obviously the major points around peer pressure, as you say, now, of course, we need to come back and be real about it, to say that, you know, one of obviously the tools to really get young people out of, you know, the survival mode, so to speak, it's really to get them into entrepreneurship. And, you know, obviously before we came live, I posted, you know, obviously on the promotion to say that you might have a younger brother or younger sister that you would definitely like to encourage, you know, to maybe get into the entrepreneurship space. How can maybe someone that is listening today say, you know, I have a younger brother, I have a younger sister, you know, or I have siblings or whatever it may be, and I'm trying to sort of, you know, encourage them to get into that space. And perhaps maybe I might not be in the space myself, but what are the things that I can do to make sure that I encourage them towards that direction?
Sure. Yeah. So I must say, number one is education. And I'm not necessarily meaning academic education. I mean educating our youth about the world of entrepreneurship. Because remember now, conditioning from the environment that we come from, entrepreneurship is one subject that has not been embraced, or we have not been educated about entrepreneurship. I mean, if I were to give an example about myself, I learned more about entrepreneurship later in my life to say, but no, this is really an option. Therefore, we need to get to a point whereby we educate them while they are still at the tender age to say, look, not all of us are going to be entrepreneurs, but at the same time, not all of us are also going to be academics or doctors and stuff. So entrepreneurship is also an option. And this is basically how it works. You know, they need to be sensitized towards entrepreneurship so that even when they make choices in their career path, they know that entrepreneurship is one of the choices. And hence Purely Precious Institute, because I mean, when I founded Purely Precious Institute, I was looking at me being an entrepreneur, but I didn't know that one day I was going to be, it was going to be something that is so close to my heart that I actually need to take it to where I believe it can create even more value, you know, which is our youth from economically disadvantaged environments. So basically at Purely Precious, what we basically do, we exist to facilitate mindset transformation of our youth so that they can be able to unleash that entrepreneurial DNA that is actually lying dormant within themselves to say, wow, I can really be able to do that. So through our mental fitness coaching program, what we basically do, we actually take them through all those steps and walk the walk with them, walk the path with them, supporting them in many different ways, not only financially, but in all ways that can actually create success for them, help them to create success. So,
No, I think of, you know, obviously I love the aspect of the mind because obviously that's where a lot of things start or they get blocked, so to speak. But I think we also need to be real about the dynamics that we find ourselves in, especially as Black people. You know, so when you start talking about coaching and mental, like, yo, I'm crazy, you know, I'm not coming to that party. So how have you guys, you know, sort of broken those barriers, you know, especially, as I said, with regards to us Black people who, when we talk about mental, you know, anything mind, working on my mind, you are just making me crazy. You know, how have you sort of worked around that aspect to say, okay, we're breaking those barriers and making it, fashionable, so to speak, to then the young people to start working on a mind around unleashing that entrepreneurial spirit, so to speak.
I believe you are so correct, Gavin, when you say, when we start talking about the issues of the mind, we as Black people, we have never been, in that space where we believe that actually the mind has the power, we didn't know about that. But now, what have we done? That's your question. We've gone into the townships. I mean, I've been working with the youth since the year 2003, where I've been trying to teach them about the dynamics of the mind itself, how one is using their mind to create their own reality, and to try and show them that, by the time you behave in a certain way or you take a certain action, it does not only start there. There's a thought process which has the mind as the base that is there. And secondly, there are feelings that actually comes from the thought that you thought before you could actually get to the action itself, So I have been going around teaching the youth and from our townships around this subject. But now we have come to a point that, because I've been coaching people who can even afford to pay for coaching, because that's another element that blocks the access, for them to learn about these things. Because I mean, it comes at a cost that they cannot maybe primarily afford at this point. So I thought of it that, how do we ensure that this, we can take it to the people that I believe that they need it most? And one of the things that we have done, we have actually established a foundation, Purely Precious Foundation. Now, the foundation, its purpose basically is to collaborate with Purely Precious Institute. However, it is there to be able to raise funds for us in a form of donations, in a form of sponsorships, in a form of pledges that we receive. And when we receive it through the foundation, we are able to go to the schools, because our target market basically is grade 11 and 12 students, and also their educators, because they have an impact on the students as well. So we want to touch them holistically as well. Then it would be them, and then it would be your TVET students, from TVET colleges, the ones that we used to call them manpower, your Tshwane South College, your Tshwane North College, all those. Those are target markets. And the reason why we actually go to TVET colleges is because of one reason. That's where you find the economically disadvantaged community there. Because if you start touching the TUTs and your university, you will find a mix there. And basically, we want to actually touch the very right people. So we work with them, and we also work with unemployed graduates, the ones that are, unemployed graduates. They have finished their studies, but look, they are not finding jobs. And in their minds, they think they must just go and look for jobs, So those are the three levels that we work at. Now, what we do via the foundation, when we have raised funds, let's make an example. We touch a child who is still in grade 11 going through to grade 12. For the 12 months that this child would be in grade 12, we work with the student in mental fitness coaching program. And that program has boot camps, has one-on-one coaching, but basically it's a 12-month program. So really, we need your commitment there, but we know that by the time we are done with you towards the end of 12 months, already there's a shift, there's a paradigm shift that has already happened, you see. And then when we get there, we say, okay, now what do you want to do? You find that this individual would say, you know what, I'm not like a doctor type of a person, but I love cooking. I'm someone who loves cooking, catering, and all that. Okay, fine. At a TVET college, they offer hospitality and catering courses. Then we assist this individual in terms of a bursary payment, to actually go into that TVET to do hospitality,
Yeah.
but in mind to say, I'm going into that so that when I'm done, I will go and establish my own hospitality business, not to go and knock at Precious doors and say, Precious, can I have a job? You know.
Yeah.
So we take them through that process. Once, when they are busy at the TVET college, and we still give them coaching in that space, you know.
Yeah.
And when they are almost done, we start helping them with writing business plans, so that now they can make sense, they can shape up their thinking in terms of exactly what type of business they want to establish and all that. From there, we assist them for the first 2 years of their business as well, to say, okay, now that you are here, the mind is changed, they know they are confident enough, they know themselves enough. That conditioning that comes from back then when they're still young, it's broken now. They are themselves now. The self-image is better. The self-doubt has collapsed, you know. Now they are able to do what? To say, okay, I'm starting this business. We assist them. We get business coaches, entrepreneurship coaches, because you know, in our field, we have different kind of specialized coaches. And we say, okay, now we need you to help this person in terms of business coaching, you know, so that they can establish this business. In the meantime, we look at someone like, for example, I have one of my sisters, she's an entrepreneur, and she's very good at cooking and everything, and she does business. Then I would connect this individual with this person who has been in business to say, please, for a period of 6 months, can you hold this individual's hand, just to, you know, for them to relax and know how business works and all that, in a form of mentorship. So by the time we are done with this person is comfortable with the concept of entrepreneurship. They have already started doing it. Even if we were to help this individual with the funds, we know that the funds are going to be used for the purpose that it was intended for. It's not going just to be looted and not knowing what they want to do with it. So that's how we actually penetrate the townships and try to make a difference.
I mean, what you just said, it's amazing. So I think then my question would be, how much of a buy-in are you then getting from the young people, especially if now you're talking about the townships? I mean, I know townships. I've run, you know, businesses in the township. It can be very difficult to especially young people. You know, I remember when I was doing cleaning, and we had a shop in Tembisa. And opposite the shop, I would have these young people from 6 o'clock, they will be there. And one time I said, guys, but you're only sitting here for the whole day. Why don't you maybe come sell these pint gels? And they're like, yo, Brakev, matching me, fix a pint gel. You know, it was like, it's not going to happen. So how much of a buy-in are you guys getting with such support? Because for me, it's great. I can imagine I would love to be part of this program.
Yeah, so I will start by saying we are not going to win them all. And at the same time, we are not going to lose them all. Therefore, the system that we use is a system of referrals. So I will say to you, normally, I would speak to someone who knows that we have already done something with them, for them, you know, to say, do you know of anyone who could benefit from this? So what we would do, we would actually go make arrangements and interview this individual. And during that process of interview, we will be able to determine whether this person is really serious about their life. Because when mostly, I mean, the narrative in the townships that is there is that, we don't have resources, we don't have this, we don't have this. It's a lack mentality that we don't have. So that interview process actually help us to actually determine whether that is a real story, is a true story, or it's just a smokescreen, just not to want to go ahead. And look, so far, we've had a few whereby those were actually correct people to talk to. And we found that, look, these people are serious about what they want to achieve, and the challenges that they are facing are actually real. In fact, let me not generalize, because I believe all the challenges are real, but the difference is what you want to do about the challenges that you are facing in front of you. And look, we've had some last week when I was busy with some of the interviews. I mean, in just 1 week, I've identified 4 individuals who will probably be going into our intake that we will be starting the process in October. So you can really be able to tell that, I mean, I interviewed more than 10, but 4 of them, you could tell that now these people, because we have a criteria that we use as well. And as you speak to us and engage us, we are able to say, we think we can go forward with you. And so we're not going to win them all, but I must say, I have been blessed as well, because I believe I'm a believer. So I always believe that God has been leading us to the right people, and because we really need to touch the right lives, we need to make a real impact.
And then maybe to put you on the spot there. So if now we say on this 4 that obviously have been picked out of the 10 people that came from the interview, more or less, what then would be the ratio of the ones that will actually go on to finish the program on its own on this 4 that you probably have?
Wow, that's an interesting one, because yes, you are really putting me on the spot. But okay, I just want to think of the group that I've worked with previously. And I can really say, if I were to count, I'm going to take a sample of, I'm going to say 30, because I want to use a specific group. And out of that 30, I must say, I think 12, 13 of them. They have a good story to tell today.
And then what will then be issues then around the remainder that didn't finish the program?
I think that's the most valuable question. Why? Because recently, that's when we actually incorporated mental fitness coaching program. It's a coaching model itself into the whole scenario. Because previously, I would just work with just about anyone who needed help and all that, Now, and still, we had a good rate of success. Like I'm saying, 12, 13, they have a good story to tell. But now, if you look at mental fitness coaching program, the reason why it is in there is for that very reason, why others are actually falling by the wayside. Why? Because remember now, when we take these people from such environments, they come with some form of baggage, And when I say baggage, it could be from family environments that they come from. It could be the socio-economic ills that we experience every day from the townships. And you find that there are a lot of issues. There's a lot that is inside the negative emotions, the negative beliefs, the conditioning. There's a whole lot. Even the energy flow itself. You find that someone is kind of blocked. And now, those are some of the factors that hold them back. So by introducing mental fitness coaching program, it's because it does have 4 cornerstones. If I may share with you those 4 cornerstones, so that you can have a clearer understanding. Now, what we do, the 4 cornerstones in there, number 1, we talk of emotional mastery. We take you through the process of learning about your own emotions, and also be able to master your own emotions, to improve your level of emotional intelligence. We're talking about the fears. I mean, the doubts. I've mentioned the fears, the doubts, the grief. There's a whole lot of emotions that people are carrying with, and that is stopping them from moving forward or even finishing the course. Now, we look at that. That's the first cornerstone. The second cornerstone is mindset transformation. And with that, we focus mainly on the thinking process. We coach you through that. What are the underlying factors, your underlying beliefs that cause you to have this particular paradigm?
Yeah.
And we work with you so that you can experience a shift there, so that you can start having a growth mindset, whereby even if you didn't know how to do something, you will not say, I don't know, and give up, but you will say, how can I, you know? So it's that. And the third one is physical energy, because look, if you're going to get your life right, most definitely you need physical energy, because you need to take action. You can do all the things, but if you do not take action towards your goals, nothing is going to come, you know? So we work with you in that, to have grit, even when you feel like giving up, so that you do not actually take that route of giving up. And finally, it's a part of your spirituality, your spiritual connection. We work with you through that. And it doesn't matter which religion you are in. You can be a Christian, a Muslim, or anything. For as long as you have your own spiritual connectedness, then you are able to know where your source is. Your source is not the world, but your source is higher than what we see with our naked eyes. So these four cornerstones help us a lot in terms of sensitizing them into actually wanting to achieving their goals. That's another part. And another part of it, we have an element of counseling, psychological counseling. I do have my associates that I work with, whereby when we're sitting with an individual, remember when it comes to coaching, we mostly focus on the way forward. How can we get there? So if we realize that the baggage that you are holding, it's too much for you, and it's really stopping you from moving forward, then that's when we do what? We bring in the counseling element of it, so that simultaneously, while you receive coaching, you can also go through counseling, so that you can deal with those specific pain points that are stopping you. So in that case, we through mental fitness coaching program, we try and look at all the possible ways that we can be able to assist you. And one of the other things that we incorporate in there as well is a personality assessment as well. Because remember now, if you are going to really say, this is the type of a field that I need to pursue, you know, we need to ensure that you are not going to give up on the way simply because it doesn't match who you are. So you need to be clearer in terms of, this is me, this is what I love, it energizes me, therefore I can really go into that. So we look at all those different areas.
I think I'm definitely loving the balance that you guys are bringing there, because I think, you know, obviously looking at being somebody that obviously I had a business that failed and dismally, and you realize that the mind is a powerful thing. And I like the fact that you guys are really working on the mind, because if we can really build on that, I think that we can be able to see a lot of young people really starting to build sustainable businesses, because I think that's what we definitely need. So now, I mean, looking at COVID-19, I mean, COVID-19 happened, and I think it destabilized a lot of people in that regard. And then obviously, when it comes to business, and then, I mean, somebody's sitting there is like, but you guys are talking about entrepreneurship. Every time I watch the news, businesses are closing down, people are losing jobs. Like, I mean, how do I even begin to even think business right now in these current times? What would you then say to that kind of person who is, you know, the young person who's looking at all of these things? And you can imagine that from emotional maturity point of view, they might not be strong. And how do we then break through, basically, to even start thinking entrepreneurship in times like this?
I think it is a challenge, but at the same time, I'm going to say it is an opportunity. Naturally, I'm an optimist. I try to find something positive,
Yeah.
even though I'm facing challenges in front of me. Yes, as businesses, we can tell that this year has been, something else.
Yeah.
However, my view is that this is the time where we even need to think more of entrepreneurship. Why am I saying so? Number one, Gavin, if you look at the corporate industry, for example, the companies that are closing down, the increasing retrenchment rate. And I mean, most people, some they are still in their jobs, but then the salaries have been cut, you know?
Yeah.
And you start thinking, why as an individual with talents, with gifts, with capabilities, am I not thinking about doing something right now that I can actually learn to grow in, so that even post-COVID, I can be able to start shaping up for the future? And I'm saying this because, look, you can't tell me that you can still rely on being employed, on going to seek for a job. It's no longer realistic in 2020. This is year 2020. It's no longer realistic. I think, and this is now an opinion, I wouldn't really say it's a fact. However, if I can go and seek evidence, it might turn into a fact. That right now, if you look at the past few years, you know, yes, job seeking was a hype, and it was very good to go study. And when you finish your studies, you go look for a job. I mean, even myself, when I finished my first degree a few years ago, the day I graduated, next week, Monday, I was starting at my new job.
Yeah.
So it was not so difficult to find a job after you've graduated. But let's look at today. How many unemployed graduates do we have at home? And they do have skill. And they do have, you can see that if this person knew how to start a business and overcome all the challenges, because I'm not suggesting that you won't find challenges in the world of entrepreneurship. There are challenges that will keep you awake at night. However, even in jobs, you still have challenges that will keep you awake at night. All you do is just about choosing your battles, you know? So what I can say is, even people who have studied and are staying at home, they are unemployed. The job market, according to me, seems to be saturating more and more, to an extent that tomorrow we'll be sitting with a whole lot of people who said, we went and studied, but there is nothing, you know? So what I can say is, why don't we take the bull by the horns and create jobs? We're not going to be all entrepreneurs, but then if we can start creating more and more jobs using the skills that we've learned at colleges and universities, 5 years or 10 years from now, you might find that the job market is opened again because there are more businesses. And with all honesty, the businesses that will actually do that for us are the businesses that have been born from the townships, because that's where the majority of people are.
Yeah, wonderful, good. No, I definitely hear you. I think obviously it's also something that we all see with the numbers that are coming up, you know, around unemployment. I mean, you know, it's so sad that the other day I was driving and I drove past the unemployment department that deals with all those things. And I saw the queues there, and my heart just, you know, it just became so. But you know, the other thing I was saying when you know, preparing to write one of the financial sermons tomorrow, to say, you know, I once worked at Davidson, and there was a day that I took time to go and sit by the taxi rank, and I saw the money was just exchanging hands the whole day, you know, and it pointed out to me that we don't have a problem of money, of making money in the township. It's just, how do we grow the money? which then becomes very important. So maybe then to then follow up on that, how then do young people, and I know obviously maybe this might be another department for somebody else within your organization, but how can a young person right now, maybe I've started this business, I'm selling something, what are the things that they can do to scale up? Because I think that's one of the issues that we have, especially with businesses. I'll say that in the townships, because you'll have umama, even or a young person that will be selling t-shirts, for example, and they perfect that process and then they make money. But there seems to be this lack of no progression from the perfection stage to the growing stage. Now, how do we then get them to then scale up their businesses?
Okay. Number one, I will talk about the power of collaboration. The power of collaboration is one of the lessons that I learned quickly when I moved into business, to say, no man is an island. And yes, if you want to get there, just go alone. But if you want to grow bigger and better and still get there, look at possibilities of even collaborating with others. Why? Because there are different businesses around the townships. And if you look at them, some of them, they're even doing the same similar business, solving the same problem, and even selling the same products to the very same people. And you ask yourself, if those two people were to actually collaborate, what would possibly come out of this? So what I would like to say is, and I would like to encourage maybe someone who is listening right now, is like, you know what, I have a younger brother or sister, or it's myself, and I don't know how I can scale up my business. One, let me say this again as an emphasis. Look at possibilities of collaboration, even if it's not collaborating with businesses that are like yours, but collaborating with businesses that are different from yours, but you can actually work together to take it somewhere, or to take your businesses somewhere while you leverage on each other's strengths. And that's the main thing that I see in front of me. Secondly, look out for opportunities, because we know that as much as we can say we know this, I've done this, I've done that, never stop learning. Try and look for opportunities where you can be able to learn new things. When you hear that wherever there is something that is happening and it has to do with entrepreneurship, look, go. And please don't come and say, I didn't have money to go. Because the question that I would ask is that, did you try and knock at certain doors to really ask for assistance just to go there, to ask someone? Because, sometimes, and look, it's something, maybe, I don't know if it's human nature, I don't know. But that element of pride that I will not ask from someone else, and instead of really reaching out and say, look, may you assist me? There's something that is happening there, and they say entry fee or whatever fee is 200 rands. I do not have. May you be able to help me with that? That is a possibility. And can I tell you, in all instances where I have reached out in my life for anything that I could need, it could have been I didn't have money to pay my bills because business was not doing well. I went and knocked at the door. Someone said, okay, take this. When you have the money, you will return it. When every time I knock at the doors, I have a friend whom I asked one day, I need to buy this book. Because I'm a new entrepreneur, I can't afford to have a budget for a book now. A friend said, you know what, I'll cover that. I'll buy the book and get it delivered to you. Even your book, a friend did the same for me. It was just delivered for me. Therefore, it shows you that when you reach out and knock at doors, people can actually help. People are not all that bad. That's my view of people. Just go out there. So collaborate, number one. Number two, reach out. And thirdly, live that sense of pride to say, I want them to see me successful. They want to know how I succeeded. Look, it takes a community to build someone, and use that. There are people who are willing to actually do that for you. And finally, maybe on that point, I think I've attended a meeting a week ago where someone spoke so strongly about humility, especially when you get into entrepreneurship. Humility counts a lot. So, and humility for me means open your heart. Do not keep your heart closed. Open your heart, love good things for others, and love good things for yourself, and good things will happen around you. So I think those can actually help someone in that instance.
But that one is difficult, those pressures. But it's all good.
Especially where we come from.
Yes, you know. But definitely, I love the points. I think collaboration. It's even. I think it really just spring out, especially now. And you know, I'm loving a lot of what I see with young people coming together with stock sales and all of that stuff, getting to that space. So maybe let us, because I see obviously the time is against us. When we now talk about when we talk about how important then, with all of the stuff that you've mentioned, how important is mentorship, and how do then young people access this, you know, these mentors to then help them out in that process?
Sure. Yeah, I think now I'm thinking of it like this, because you're asking a question in terms of how important is mentorship, and now how can they even access the mentors? Facing reality, and I'm going to speak like this because it's what we are facing. We will overcome it one day. I believe things are changing for the better now. But you know, what I have seen previously was that you would find people who have made it, you know, who could potentially be great mentors to those who are still coming. But due to the pressures maybe of where they are, and maybe they're still looking at themselves in terms of enhancing what they have, you find that they are not able, and I'm not saying from a blaming point of view, but it's what I've seen, that they are not able to make time and look back and say, let us go and really reach out and help those, you know. Because one of the biggest challenges with those who are still in like townships, if you do not have resources to really source for these mentors, to look for the people, you might even not know where to find them, how to find them. And even when you find them, you don't even know what to say to them. You know, because I remember myself years ago, I tried to find this person to be my mentor, and I made an appointment and everything. And when I was courageous enough to make an appointment, but when I met this person, I didn't know what to say. I just didn't know what to say. All I knew was that I had fire and passion burning inside of me, and I needed someone just to help me, to hold my hand, walk with me. But I didn't know how to ask for that, you know. So I think it is very important, maybe for us who are able to still go back to them to say, look, you can access us. And once you access me, I will not be a mentor for everybody, but at least I have a lot of my peers that some I studied with, some I worked with, and I can be able to connect people. And the more we can connect the right people with each other, that's where the concept of mentorship can start flourishing and show great results, you know. So I would rather say, hey, you young people, if you are listening to me, look for opportunities. Don't look at what is in front of you and accept it as your ultimate truth. Just look for opportunities. Go out there. If you see Precious coming to Mabopane, do not mind coming and say, hi, tell me, how are you doing this? You know, do that, reach out, because as much as there are those who do not have time for such, but there are plenty, there are lots of those who are willing and who will sit, who will listen to you, who will support you. And they just cannot come to you and say, I want to support you. But when they see that you are serious, because sometimes people want to see your commitment and they want to see that you are serious about your future, then they will actually assist you to get there, you know? Yeah.
Wonderful. I like that. I like that a lot. So now, to be realistic, you know, with everything that is going on in the country, how does the future of youth entrepreneurship look like? You know, according to you, if we really have to be on a realistic kind of platform.
Sure. Yeah, you see now when you mention the future of entrepreneurship in our country, yeah, it's a tough one because one thing that comes top of my mind is that there's a need for support. We really need, and when I speak support, I mean holistic support.
Yeah.
We've been hearing, we've been seeing stories about there's SMME funds at the, is it CEDA, NYDA, whatever. I knocked at all the doors previously. I never won, you know. And you ask yourself, there are budgets, apparently there's money. How do the youth access this money? Because you get there, you have a great business concept, but because you are not in an innovation space where you are going to build a spaceship or a computer, then you do not qualify, you know? But finding that the business idea that you have, even if it's not a tech business or it's not, you know, in the industry that they believe that you can go into, you could actually flourish and you could create even more jobs in it, you know? So I think maybe as a country, we need to re-look at how we really support our youth as far as entrepreneurship is concerned. And hence I'm saying right now, I'm trying to penetrate in the minds and in the spaces of the powers that be. So that I'm busy with that so that I can be able to get access to all these resources that can actually help me to get my hands dirty in the townships. Because we need people who are really committed in getting their hands dirty. And when I say getting their hands dirty, people who are willing to get into the townships and work with the youth in the township without judging them, without saying, we cannot touch you, you are not clean enough. If we have to take this person who is willing to shape their future, if we have to put them in a figuratively, so in a bathtub to clean them up, let's do that. Let's get our hands dirty. And in that way, from my side, what I'm currently doing by getting my hands dirty is through coaching, counseling, and all these things that I'm doing, because I believe that I'm touching the really right things that can actually shift someone and actually take them somewhere where they have never been.
All right. Wonderful. No, I totally love that, and I see the passion that, you know, oozes from the tone of your voice, from your facial expression and everything. And I think that's definitely what we need, because once we can get that support, especially to the two young people that we have, I believe that we're gonna definitely see a lot of things happening, because they're the ones that actually need to start creating these much needed jobs that we need, and creating a field that will be conducive for others to also come through as well. So I think then, you know, as I said, I think that because of time, and I would have loved for us to just go on and go on. I think there's so much that we could be able to talk about. But maybe just to then, as we close, and then obviously, again, I'm going to take it back to those that, you know, you have young people within your family, or even your kids, and you just need, you don't really know how to support them. Do I give them money? Do I get them clients? You know, what are I think the ways again, if you know, you can just highlight them, if you can highlight them again, just from our side, that we can, because I know I have children and I want them to also enter that space. I have brothers, I have young brothers, I have sisters, I have nephews, and all of that. How practically do we then assist them so that they can also find that confidence and then they can start actually implementing their business ideas?
That one I love most. Why? Because it doesn't even need you to use any form of monetary value to do it.
Yeah.
Number one, start paying attention to them. Pay attention to them. See them, hear them, feel them, notice them. Be able to see what they are really passionate about. You will be able to see it if you pay attention to them. The moment you pick it up, even if their passion is about, maybe this child loves dancing a lot, but you can see that there's something special about this child when this child starts dancing. Stop thinking that this child must go and be an engineer and you start pushing this child into engineering. No, this child is highly passionate about this. And you can see that this child, if they can do this, it can actually bring the best out of them. Encourage them. You pay attention to them. Once you've noticed what is it that they love naturally, encourage them to take that seriously. Encourage them. You know, even small things that you see, mention them, the things that they don't see about themselves, because most of the time, especially the upcoming ones, you find that they, even if they don't believe in themselves, but they will tell you one day that I made it because my brother or my uncle or my mom believed in me, saw something in me. So when you notice that, encourage them and support them. When she says, you know what, I need to take out 1 hour every day to craft my whatever and make sure that I can dance properly and all that, encourage them. If you can see that this one is a cook and everything, get out of the kitchen, give them space and call them Chef Precious. You know, we have Chef Precious at home. Chef Precious, today we want to eat Indian cuisine. We want to eat African cuisine.
I like
Encourage them in that way. You don't have to pay a cent, but that on its own will build everlasting confidence. And they will start seeing themselves as successful cooks, successful everything, you know. And by the time comes where they have to now build it as a career, it becomes an easy thing to do for them. So that's all I can say about them. So please identify, pay attention, encourage them, support them. That on its own is worth $1 billion. I promise you.
No, I love that. I mean, you know, this Saturday we actually going for auditions for the younger one to go and dance, because I've been picking up that she just loves this T-pop dancing, ballet. So we just, you know, and I think it's very important because you even see how excited she is now about this whole process. So definitely loving that. So pay attention, encourage them, and you know, we spur them on. So it doesn't necessarily be about money, but it definitely our actions that speaks volumes there. So so before we close, maybe can you, all right, wonderful, tell people about how to get your book, how to reach out to you, get your services, how do they go about doing that?
Yes, okay. Yeah, this is the book, Renew Your Mind, and it has personal stories. However, it teaches you about how you can renew your mind and overcome all the fears, the doubts, and creating the habits that will actually help you to be authentic and be your best self as well. So a copy is 200 rands, and you can find it from me. You can contact me on my cell phone number. I can give out my cell phone number now.
Please.
It's 083 753 6062, 083 753 6062, Or alternatively, you can find me on all, I have presence in social media. You go on Facebook, you have Purely Precious Institute page, and you go on Instagram, I'm Coach Precious, LinkedIn, I'm Coach Precious, Twitter, I'm Coach Precious, and you can also visit my website, www.purelyprecious.co.za, www.purelyprecious.co.za. So whichever method you want to use to contact me, I will always respond to you within a period of 24 hours, and we can make arrangement as to how I can ship the book to you or deliver it to you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Oh man, I think, as I said, the time is not doing us justice. You know, could be going on and on about how to. I've learned a lot. I'm you know, definitely going to implement a lot of the things that you have mentioned to encourage my younger brothers, younger nephews, my kids as well, just to get them going within this entrepreneurship space. So on that regard, Old Precious, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for agreeing, you know, to be part of this dinner. I'm sure that everybody that is here definitely fed. They are fed, and then they took scuffed-in homes to be able to implement there. And may God just, you know, enrich you abundantly in everything that you're doing. May you prosper, may we see you grow, and just do incredible things. And yeah, so thank you so much for being on the platform.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate, and I'm grateful. Thanks to you for inviting me. I really enjoyed this moment with you. And thank you to all the listeners. I really appreciate it.
Wonderful.
God bless you.
Thank you so much. So yeah, so to everybody, thank you again for tuning in. You could have been doing so many things, but you joined us tonight. As I said, the episode will be shared on my YouTube channel, Gav Talks Property and Finances. Please go and subscribe. There's a lot of things coming through. So next week, we're going to have networking for wealth. So we're going to have 3 people that will be joining me, from Forex to Herbalife to Bitcoins. We want to know what exactly these platforms, what do they do? Are people really making money out of them? How can you also get on the back wagon to creating wealth through all of this? So as I said, this is a platform where we're going to be exploring a lot of things around wealth. You know, we want to be wealthy in so many ways. There was somebody that posted that, you know what, you need to make money in different ways. And that's exactly what we want to do. So yeah, everybody, thank you so much for being part of this dinner. And yeah, Gavin Mkabela, I am signing out. See you on the flip side.